Hello, everyone. Boone here. Welcome back to Boone Builds. It is another AFOL Spotlight Live. I'm incredibly excited to be with you tonight and to bring Matt Nakamura. He is a casting producer for Lego Masters. How you doing, Matt?
Oh, Boone, I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good. I think people are going to love the time that we're going to spend together tonight. I'm really looking forward to diving in with you. It's all right here on AFOL Spotlight Live.
Let's go! Climb aboard this proverbial Winnebago. We're talking about the awesome fans of Lego. So build your mock and shift it into drive. It's time for AFOL Spotlight Live.
So Matt, I am so glad to have you with us. This is so strange. Now, let me just talk to the camera for a second. Everyone out there, all of you people watching, we'll dive into the chat here. We've got Aqua Mike, Mr. Monarch, Moto is here, Jeff McElwee, Scott Robinson, Marvel Kid. Hey, everyone who's joining us. This is Matt, and he is with Lego Masters Casting. Matt, are you guys are just like diving in, huh?
Yeah, we're diving in. We're getting ready. We're gearing up. We are, doing this next round of casting, going out there into the Lego community where you are you like the king of the Lego community now at this point?
No, I'm one
a
of
Duke,
the
maybe
Dukes.
Earl?
Yeah, I'm one of the Dukes. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we're like reaching out and we're just letting people know we're casting the show. We are, you guys have all had a chance, or I imagine a lot of people have had a chance to watch the first season. And so we are just looking for more of you builders out there, people who saw the first season of the show and maybe thought, I could do that. I could do what Boone does. I could do what Boone and Mark does. Easy. If you guys are out there and you're thinking that, those are the people we're looking for, and just kind of trying to get the word out and getting people to know that we're out there, applications are open, and we are excited to read these applications, see what you guys are doing out there. We want you guys to apply, so we're not holding anybody back. Don't think that you're not for the show or you're not as good as whatever it is. We want to meet you guys and just see what's out there.
That's awesome. I was talking with Megan from your office the other day, and she said that something about like a lot of people look at the application and they kind of get hung up on like this daunting task of completing the application, and so that a lot of people don't apply. And she had a sentiment. I don't want to put words in her mouth, and she is not here to talk about what she said, but it seems like she was saying something to the degree of like, don't let the application stop you. Go ahead and apply, and there are going to be parts of the process that are more important than just like that hurdle of getting over the typed application.
Yeah, Megan is so right and so smart, because that's very true. Obviously, the application is important in the way that every first step is important, but it is just that it's a first step. I would really implore people to trust themselves and also trust the casting process. Nobody gets on this show by accident. It takes that first step of doing it. We read every application, but don't let that hold you back. Think, I need to nail every single word or every single paragraph that I write in here because that's what's going to get me on the show. It's important. We love to read that stuff, but I would also just suggest fill out the application, type what you can, have fun with it, make a video, even if it's just a really short video saying, hi, this is my name, this is what I like to build. That's great. Just get into our inbox, get in front of us. We read every application, and I mean that. We'll see it, and if something in there pops, if we like something that we see, we'll do it. If we're just curious about like, oh, they wrote this one like little thing, maybe you just threw it away in the application as like, I like to do this hobby. That might be something that catches someone's eye, and we might call you. Casting will reach out to you, and we will take it from there.
Okay, and about casting reaching out, I don't want to say last year, but back in the summer of 2019, we were the Lego Masters Fox was announced. I was at San Diego Comic-Con, and I was sitting in a big Lego media panel, and I was just sitting in the audience watching, and the very last thing they said was, Lego Masters is coming to the USA. And my brain exploded. I walked out of that room minutes later and immediately called Mark or texted Mark and was like, hey, will you be my partner? Can we apply for Lego Masters? He's like, yes, let's do it. And over the following weeks, I was seeing a lot of people in various groups being like, hey, so-and-so reached out to me on Facebook. So-and-so reached out to me on Instagram. Someone I've never heard of saw my stuff on Flickr and sent me a message. And some of those people were suspicious. Like, what is this thing? Like, I haven't heard of this thing, or I know it exists in other countries, but I didn't know it was coming to the United States. But you guys you are like hitting all of the platforms. You're looking for the builders, right? And if someone if you're watching this and someone reaches out to you, I guess I'm just wondering if you could speak to that a little bit. Like
100%.
That's a really working hard.
We are. That's a really good question. I'm actually really glad you brought that up, because we are out there in the online Lego community. I mean, everything's online now. But we are looking through mocks, looking at hashtags. We're on Flickr and we're on Instagram. We're like, if you're building and you're posting it, we're trying our hardest to get our eyes on it. So there are like a couple of avenues. Like if someone from our team does reach out to you because we see something that we like and we want to get this casting process started with you, like by all means, if it's something you're interested in, we're legit, dive in, and we are just as excited to talk to you, I hope, as you are to talk with us. But it really is one of those things where Lego, the hobby itself is one of those things that is so big and so universal. And what makes our show so fun is, yeah, we are going to be out there in the Lego community, and we are going to be seeing who are the people who are doing well at conventions, who are always showing at these cons. We want to see those. Those are people that are going to be on the show. But I know there's people out there who aren't at those conventions, who maybe like don't have a YouTube channel, who aren't as plugged into the community, but who maybe watch your live stream, or who just scroll those through Instagram themselves, like wishing or thinking that they're that's beyond them or that's too big for them. We want to see those builders too. You don't have to be someone huge in the Lego community or someone who's getting a ton of likes on their Instagram or a ton of views on their Flickr. If you have skills or you're doing stuff that's creative with Lego, you are people that we want to meet and see and talk to.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a number of people who are doing that work, reaching out, right? And so if someone applies and they don't hear directly back from you, like they should feel comfortable with that, right? Like there's a few people out there that are reaching out and are going to be responding. And one of the things that I felt was, I'm trying to think about a safe way to ask this question is, like applying for any job or, putting yourself out there for any new opportunity. There can be these periods of like, wait, like I did a big thing, I'm anxious about it, and now I'm just like waiting. And then there can be like a rush of like, get these things done. Can you speak to that? Like what people can expect in the process? Again, I know we don't want to get too detailed about the intricacies of the casting process, but generally speaking, what can people expect?
I mean, what I do want people to know about the casting process is again, that first step is the application. From there, if there's something, we'll reach out to you. After that, there are a bunch of other steps. And like Boone is saying, we might be asking stuff from some of you. We might not be asking stuff of other people. It really is something that is kind of, it's big. The show's big. And so there's a lot that goes into it. So know that we are trying our hardest to be as communicative and open with everybody, but also know that means we're being communicative and open with everybody. That's like a lot of people that we're dealing with. So if there are lulls where you don't hear from us, like don't get nervous. If you want to send us an email, at a certain point, you'll have email. I can also give you our email account, on air at some point. And you can check in. How am I doing the application? Anything else you need from me? We love seeing stuff like that. Just, checking in. And if there's nothing we need from you at the time, we'll probably shoot you back an email if we can saying, nope, we're good for right now. Thanks for reaching out. But it's a process.
Yeah. Okay, well, Gideon Gressman here in the live chat said, just very simply, how do I apply? So if people want to go somewhere right now
question.
And get the process started.
Gideon, if you or if anyone else out there wants to apply, www.legomasters.tv. I'll say that one more time. www.legomasters.tv. Perfect.
That right?
That looks exactly right. That takes you to our website, and that will get you right to the application. If you're over the age of 18, you're a resident in the United States, definitely look into it. It's going to be a bunch of terms and everything that you're going to have to look through, but click on that and then start filling out the application. And again, don't be intimidated by its length, by thinking you have to write the perfect thing, make the perfect video. Get it in, show us your best stuff. Be honest, be yourself. Like, I know that's cheesy and I know everyone expects me to say that, but it's so true. There's no one person we're looking for. I tell this to everybody, but I don't have a checklist of things that people can say or do that will get them on the show automatically. So just be who you are. That's all we can ask of you. That's all you can ask of yourself. So don't put that pressure on you. Fill out the application and but legomasters.tv. That's a good place to look. And if you have any additional questions, I can give you our email address as well, which is legomasters@esnaprods. That's PRODS.com.
Check this for me before anyone writes it down.
Legomasters at naprods.com.
That's it. All right, everybody. So you can now if people, so you've given people a couple of ideas. They can actually go to the website. I hope it was okay for me to show the website. I meant to ask you before I threw it up on the screen.
100%. As many people that get their eyes on that, the better. Yeah.
Awesome. So that was it. I showed that for just a moment there. That is the actual site where you can go and click that big red apply button and get things together. Can I say that, like, generally speaking, people should probably put together like a lot of pictures and maybe some video to be ready for the application process?
Have at least a handful of pictures ready, both of yourself, if you're thinking about applying with a teammate, which if you can, I would encourage you to do that. We know the show's teams of two. Think about that person in your life who is the mark to your boon or what have you. Both of you guys send in an application, but pictures would be very, very important. We want to see your building skills, your creativity, your technique. That's not the only thing you should be focusing on. We do want to get a sense of you and your life and your personality and your story, but we definitely want to see your builds. It's Lego Masters, so there's a place to attach those photos. If you could do 5, great. If it's 3, that's fine. And there's a place to attach a video. That's a chance for us to see you, your face, talking, how much you smile, how excited you get. These are all things that we are looking for.
Well, okay. This is an interesting question. I don't know if you'll be able to answer this one or not. This is from Legomatic, one of the regular viewers here at Boon Builds. It says, how much longer will we be able to apply? That's
a good question. I would encourage, there's still a little bit of time left. I wouldn't put it off to the last minute though. So I would say apply as soon as possible. I mean, if you are seeing this and you're thinking about doing it, fill it out this weekend, today, this week, if you can. By all means, we'll be casting definitely through the end of the year, but don't give yourself that deadline of, I'll fill it out the very December 31st or whatever. Get that application in. If you want to mull it over, you want to find a partner, by all means. But I always tell people the sooner the better.
Okay. And I see a lot of questions in the chat. This is great. We're going to make sure that we hit as many of the questions from the live chat as we can. A number of people are asking about the age. Did you touch on that? It is.
Yeah, I think I said
18,
18 and up this year. Yeah.
Okay. And then I've seen a couple of other people asking about Canada. And I know the answer to that question. It's going to be United States residents only this time, correct?
Yeah, I'm going to be I'm gonna read this part because this is like legalese and I want to make sure I have this. All persons selected are required to verify identity and eligibility to participate in the US and fulfill the requirements of the production in the US. Yeah. So if you I don't quote me on this, and I make no promises. I would encourage people who are U.S. citizens definitely apply and are eligible, and take everything else I said after reading from that flyer. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. The other thing was someone asked, do you think, and I'm sure this is something you probably can't comment on, but do you think there could be a Canadian season coming? Are there any rumblings? Is that a possibility for the future?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you. I feel bad now because I told you in the pre-show that I would avoid questions that I knew you couldn't answer, but now I realize that I've thrown a couple at you that maybe are things
Boone,
that I shouldn't have.
Boone, I don't mind. There's nothing you could do that you need to apologize for.
Okay. Awesome. Let's see. So Matt, I had a question as we were talking there. What tell me about connecting. Was your first time doing casting for Lego Masters, was that your first real dive into the Lego fan community?
That's a good question. So let me think. I was definitely a fan of Lego prior. Like if you were asking me like what is an AFOL, what is a mock prior to working on Lego Masters, I would have been able to tell you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would have been able to tell you. But as far as like really being deep in, like knowing the name of these conventions, knowing what websites to go to, like what YouTube shows to watch, I wasn't as plugged in. But I myself am a fan of the product, built myself, never mocks. But it's something that I was a fan of and excited to get the opportunity to work on this show.
That's cool. Well, thank you. This one is, I know that on the production, we met a number of people that worked on the production that were big Lego fans and very, very excited to be working on the production. So that's wonderful to hear. This one's just kind of fun. We'll take it away from the more technical stuff and just ask you, this is Kevin this is a question I pulled from a Facebook post I made a couple of hours ago. He said, what's your favorite challenge from season 1?
That's a good question. Anything where I get to see like bricks going everywhere is just like from an audience standpoint is so satisfying to watch. I don't know what it was like for you guys to participate in it, but that one, like just like visually, like it's, for me, was a fun thing to see to happen on the show. And then I myself am a big Star Wars fan. So seeing kind of like an episode built around that was really, really cool.
That's awesome. So I know, I have an idea about what the commitment level that was required in the competition that I participated in. Is that something you can talk about? That's a question I see a lot. People are like, how long are we gonna have to be there? What kind of, schedule is it? Are we sequestered? I know those are very kind of detailed questions, but from a high up level, just like if people are thinking about auditioning, thinking about applying, what can you say about the kind of time you're gonna need to give?
I mean, as far as like the amount of like commitment and time it takes, you could obviously answer that question better than me. And just that, it's hard to have a ton of life outside of Lego Masters when you are on Lego Masters, but you are I assume that's true for you. Yeah. But what I can say is we are looking to film the show. And, I've just been telling people, like, if you do get on the show, make sure you don't have any major conflicts starting in February, especially from the end of February. But it takes weeks. It's weeks and weeks of shooting. You guys are putting in a lot of hours and time.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And this time is interesting for everyone because we're all in, various locations dealing with different regulations regarding COVID, right? All of our works have been affected. All of the schools have been affected, in one way or another. Now, depending on where you're from, you might be experiencing different levels of, regulations and different levels of caution around the pandemic. Man, it's been a long time, actually. It's been so long, I haven't even used that word in a while. Is that having an effect on this? Can you speak to that at all? Can people...
Yeah, that's a good question, and obviously a concern that we imagine almost anyone would have coming onto the show, and it's a concern that everyone working on the show is taking extremely seriously. As far as the exact precautions, that's like that level of production is not in my hands. But what I can tell you is that every single show that's happening in quote unquote Hollywood right now, major studio, major network production company, is doing everything they can to adhere to a long list of guidelines and a long list of protocols, like binders full that we have to stick to and that we want to stick to. So we're doing everything we can to be safe. No one's going to be maskless involved, having to give a piggyback ride to someone they've never met before.
Right.
As part of the show.
Yeah, and sneezing at the same time.
Just the sneezing challenge. That's not going to be a part of the show.
Oh, do you know anything about challenges? I'm sure that's all secret. That's all. We didn't know.
If I did, why would I come on here and then tell people, here's how you practice for the show? Here's how, if you're watching Boone's show, you'll get an unfair advantage by listening to me tell you what we're planning.
Oh, well, thanks.
So we don't know.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Let's see. I have a lot of questions, but I probably won't ask most of them because they're just for me.
Ask.
But we can go to the live chat for questions. So if you are here, first of all, I just want to thank quickly my moderators, Ben, Moto, Dave Morgan is here. Who else? Jeff McElwee. And I need to make Holly or Molly a moderator because every time or Allison, I read all those names and I'm like, dude, all your moderators are dudes. Anyway, so but anyway, moderators, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for helping the live chat always be a fun and safe place for all of us. Hey, Brett Hooper. Yeah, that's right. Brett Hooper's here. So put those questions for Matt about casting for Lego Masters. This is the next round of casting. Oh, what did you say? You had a great term for it. The next.
I don't round of casting sounds good to me.
Okay, all right. Round. Here we go. So Legomatic says, Boone, can you enter if you were under 18 but end up getting a partner over 18? No, it's both partners, right?
That's a great question, but yeah, if both partners would need to be over the age of 18.
Okay. Yep. Great. Let's see. Will it? This is a question that I feel like this is so similar to the question that I just asked about the challenges. Will it be like season 2 of Lego Masters Australia? Season 1 was very similar.
Yeah, as far as the content or the creative direction of season 2 of Lego Masters, as I'm reading from Scott Robinson, I can't speak to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Perry Wang says, Matt, what other shows have you helped cast? How does Lego Masters compare?
Oh, that's a fun question. I've cast a bunch of TV shows. I really personally gravitate toward these talent-based competition shows where we get to see teams or seeing how personalities mesh with talent and skill and things that I could never hope to do. So I work on I've done the Great American Baking Show, which is the American version of the British Bake Off. And then I've done Glee had a reality show years and years ago that I worked on and loved. I mean, I've done.
You're kidding me! And that was the show where
shows.
like the winners of that show ended up getting to play small roles on the actual show, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That show was phenomenal. I love that. Show.
So yeah, a bunch of shows like that, and then like there's game shows and stuff out there. How does Lego Masters compare? I feel like the only answer I can give is it's my favorite show to work on, and blows those other shows out of the water. It's I mean, it's a good match for me because like I am a nerd. I am like, I imagine you guys, I imagine everyone hearing this would be complimented by being lumped into that category, but I really am, a geek, a nerd, whatever you want to call it. And just have always loved Lego and toys. So it's great.
Awesome. Well, that's cool. Perry is one of my great friends. He is, we've collaborated on a lot of production, a lot of Lego collaborative projects together. He's a cool guy. Let's see. I'm looking for other question marks. Someone said Brett Hooper. Okay, Bricks O'Brien says, "Can I be a fan? Can I be a fan judge on the Great American Bake Off?"
We are.
That is off topic.
We are not here to talk about that show.
Brett Hooper says Matt is like a mad scientist of human behaviors. Oh
wow! I'm glad that came through. I'm glad that everyone could see that.
Does that resonate with you for the kind of work you do? You're sort of.
I mean, it's interesting, and I will kind of spin it around to talk a little bit about casting this show. But I do think it's a good idea to have in your heads because it's something that I'm looking for when I'm talking to you guys and getting to know everybody who potentially wants to be on this show. Is really think about what makes you. And I think a lot of people jump through hoops to think like, oh, I saw this guy on this reality competition show and maybe I can be that guy. You can't be that guy. You can be you, and you're the person who will be that guy to somebody else, but only be yourself. But really think about what makes you interesting, what makes you different than your buddies. Who are you in your group of friends? And show us that. Because that is really what makes, I think, Lego Masters so fun, is seeing all those different personalities. Everyone has that common love of building and Lego, but everybody's so different at the same time, which is what makes the hobby and I think the show so cool.
And is there another piece too to like you and your partner thinking about like what are those magic things that make you and your partner a special partnership?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a good thing to have in your mind. You can, and if you guys are having trouble finding a partner, you can apply for the show and send us an application. Even if you don't have a partner yet, or you're thinking about a few people, still send us an application. But you've all seen the show, and Boone can tell you this, like that dynamic and that person you're building right next to is so huge. And I'm not just talking about skill level or, who's able to accomplish what technique wise. I am talking about just that person who's going to keep you sane while you're building for hours, who you can trust, if not on a building level, from just like a personal, emotional standpoint, who can, even if they push your buttons, even if like make life a little bit difficult for you, still make it fun. So who's this person who your relationship, even outside of building, is something that is fun and unique and special? And this could be a family member, a mom, a sibling. It could be another person who does what you do at your job, who like you go through work projects, like anything that's like that would be great. If it is just another buddy who you like to build Lego with, great. Really think about though, what makes you guys different than the other buddies who build Lego together? Yeah,
cool. Lego Cat Creator, there's so many questions that are just like future announcements that we could not talk about if you knew. But I'm trying to think about a way, because this one gets asked all the time, like, why aren't there kids on this show? There needs to be kids on this show. Is that, do you think that could ever happen in the future, or is it just like legally too challenging?
As with anything, I would never say never. Like, I don't have any inside information. I don't have an announcement for you. But, you know, I agree. It would be cool to see. Unfortunately for this show, it's 18 plus.
Okay, cool. Here we go. This is maybe the round of questions that can't be answered, but I'm gonna ask them anyway, just because they're here. But it's fine. I'll come up with a funny answer if it's something you can't ask, or something you can't answer. David says, when will Lego Masters air? Has that been decided yet? Is it
TBD?
secret? Okay, great. Brett Hooper says, is Will Arnett coming back?
I cannot speak to that.
Okay. Matt, you're such a good sport. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that. So let me hide this one, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the URL back up here so that people can see that. www.legomasterstv. Oh, you know what? Someone did ask just a fun question that I skimmed over earlier, and now I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to find it, but that's fine. I'll ask it. It was, do you have a favorite Lego set?
Oh, that's a fun question. I mean, recently, I really liked the black and white Steamboat Willie set. I thought that was really fun, and the end result was really cool. And then I recently did. I have a 3-year-old, and he's really into trains, and we did that like 40th anniversary reproduction of like the steam train, like the push train.
Oh, yeah.
And that was just like the steam engine. And so I did that with him, and he's 3, so it's like me doing it while he watches. But he loved the end result and like kept it on a shelf until it broke, and then we put it all in a bin and rebuilt it. But yeah, those are what pops to mind. But I think speaking to like my age and my generation, I am a big fan of the licensed sets that Lego does and has done. Like, I think they've done a really good job of capturing that whole like other like movie fan or Harry Potter or, you know, Star Wars community and bringing them into the hobby. And I am one of those people who was like in 8th grade when the prequels came out, and then, you know, the set started coming out, and that kind of really brought me in. So I still do like seeing like the stuff they're doing with Nintendo and Disney and stuff. It always like tickles me a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great. I love the Disney stuff. One of the first, even before Star Wars, before Lego had the Star Wars license in 1999, one of the very first licensed lines that I can remember was Duplo Winnie the Pooh. And I think that, and this was after I was far too old for Duplo. I think it was probably just a year or two before they picked up Star Wars. But I think the Duplo Winnie the Pooh figure is one of the most precious Lego figures. I need to get my hands on one because I don't have one in my collection.
I'm gonna Google this right now because I'm curious to see.
You said Disney, and that was one of the first, Disney and licensing, and because of the timeline and the licensing, that was one of the first thing that came up. Let's see. Well, I'll go ahead and show it just because I mentioned it and it's my show, and I'm gonna go Duplo Winnie the Pooh, and let's see if we can get a close-up on do this one, and I'm just going to share this. Oh, that's not it. No, it was one earlier than that. It's this one, and I just think that little Winnie the Pooh. Oh, where'd it go? Duplo Winnie the Pooh. I'll just do figure, and maybe we'll. This is the kind of stuff we do here, Matt. Sometimes we'll just.
No, I'm edge of my seat. This is what I would be doing anyway.
Isn't this guy so cute?
Yeah.
Look. And then this looks like a later Duplo, which is more like a traditional Duplo body.
Yeah, that first
head
one
and
you showed was like surprisingly screen accurate for a Duplo.
Right. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry. I digress. Lego Masters.tv. Okay, Matt.
Yes.
Is there anything else? Is there anything else important that we haven't touched on that you just wouldn't want to miss?
What I do want to say and make sure is out there is I know there's a ton of people watching this who are probably thinking about this for themselves. I also want you to know that you are not hurting your chances or putting yourself at risk by telling your friends, other builders you know, other people in your life who would be good for this show. It really only helps everybody. So help us get the word out and let people know who maybe aren't as plugged in as you guys are to the Lego community, that if you know a builder or you went to school with someone or work with someone who you know like tinkers with this in their garage, but aren't as plugged in, let them know we're casting. They might be great for the show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Let me see if there's any more quick questions. Oh no, that's a question for someone else. They're talking about the Magic School Bus. Oh yeah, Brett Hooper says, "Is this show sponsored by the Magic School Bus?" I've been saying lately that all of my live streams are brought to you by my most recent Lego Ideas project. You can find a link in the description of this video. Any support would be great. I'm trying to get to 10,000 supporters so that Lego might consider making this into a real set.
I've been monitoring it closely.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Are you aware of who Jake Sadovich is? So Jake Sadovich was the fan designer of the Ship in a Bottle.
Yep.
The official Lego Ship in a Bottle set. Did you see his mashup of Ship in a Bottle and Magic School Bus that he made?
Did you just post that today or like the last couple of days?
It was the last couple of days. Yeah.
Yeah. I did see it. I did see it, and I thought it was great.
When I saw that, I told Jake I have one tear rolling down my screen. I'm texting him, right? And because I just, I'm sure we all have the people in our fields that we look up to, and Jake is one of those people for me. He fan designer, Ship in a Bottle. We were able to do the Bricklink AFOL design program together. He had the Isle of Peril 3D treasure map. I had the antique fire engine. And his mocks are just unbelievable to me. It seems like he just keeps every single mock that he cranks out is something new and fresh and has techniques in it that I've never seen before. And so when he showed me, and the other piece of the Ship in a Bottle is something that I aspired to with the Magic School Bus, in that I have never seen a single Lego set modified and put on display, like, with like mashups of other things or a spin on the original set, as many times as I've seen the Ship in a Bottle with Star Wars ships and Star Trek ships and Doctor Who and all the other things you can think of inside the bottle. And I just think that set captured such a incredible thing about the creative aspect of Lego and the fan community, and just it's beautifully aesthetic, and so that's what I was hoping, that with the Magic School Bus, in every episode it turns into something different. So my hope is that if it ever becomes a Lego set, that people will be able to turn it into as many different things as they can imagine. But to see Jake put my Magic School Bus into a miniature version into the Ship in a Bottle was incredibly flattering. Huge honor for me. And not only was it the Magic School Bus, but it actually is, to me, it looks like a miniature version of my model of the Magic School Bus. So sorry, Matt, thank you for your time on all the things that we've talked about that just have had nothing to do with Lego Masters.
Oh, absolutely.
So the other thing I've seen is a lot of people saying, and I know I'm not going to ask this question, but a lot of people have been saying, wouldn't it be awesome to see an international all-stars, because now there's all of these versions of Lego Masters from all of these different countries, and you've got people from different seasons, and now we're having multiple seasons in Australia. We are coming up on a second go around here in the United States, and I just wanted to let you know, if that ever happens in the future and you end up having any involvement with it, I am on board.
Noted. I'll make a note of it. But I mean, it is true. Like, part of the job of doing this is, we don't always know where builders are from when we are scrolling through and looking through and seeing what's out there. And there's just so many like amazing, talented, great sup, Mark. Talented builders that we see, and then they just live too far away from us. But there is, it's true, so much great international talent.
Ben says, what is the over-under quota for bearded builders per season? probably
if you mean
not a strict.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I, like people with beards. It's not a guarantee to get you on the show. So if you have a beard, apply. If you don't have a beard, you know what? Also apply.
Yeah, there you go. Douglas, this is I have a feeling I know the answer to this one, but I just think it's kind of fun. Can fans send in ideas for different episode challenges?
I mean, I guess nothing is stopping you, but it's not going to go anywhere. Like, in the nicest way possible. Like, one, you're gonna, if you're sending it to that email I give you, that's going to the casting team, and we're separate from the creative team who's handling all of that. And we trust them, and they are very smart, creative people. So it's not going to go anywhere. And I say this in the nicest way possible, but it's not a realistic goal.
Okay, I just gotta say real quick, there was a super chat earlier, and you were in the middle of a very interesting point about something, and I missed it. And now I'm trying to see if I can go back and see who it was, and it was a $5 super chat. I'm trying to remember who that was from. I just want to thank that person. I'm very, very sorry. It's very atypical for me to miss commenting on and thanking you for a super chat. So whoever that was, $5, please accept my apology this time. And next time, I promise I'll get you. And thank you so much for supporting the chat here. Well, Matt, we should ask Matt one of Perry's crazy questions. Perry is always coming up with these crazy questions for people. I'll fill you in. You answered the question about favorite set. And that question and other questions like it are the questions that in these streams with Lego builders, we hear those questions over and over and over again. What's your favorite set? And it's always fun to hear that from someone we haven't heard from before. But I've answered the question, what's my favorite set, that if I asked the live chat, there's probably 20 people in the live chat that could tell you what my favorite set is. But Perry is always coming up with some really, really creative questions, and trying to see if we're going to get one from him here. I'm putting him on the spot. Molly Makes Stuff Up is here. She says, hey, all. Thanks for being here, Molly. Not seeing Perry. That's all right. But it was something, he would ask you something like, if you could, well, this will be fun. If we'll mash up two of the shows that you've mentioned, Lego Masters and the Great American Baking
Show.
Yeah. is the name of the show. If you could, let's see, how do I phrase this question? We're just having fun here. I apologize. It's at the point in the night where I start going downhill. But if you could take any challenge from any season of the baking show, Great American Baking Show, and surprise the Lego Masters with, hey, in this challenge, you've got to incorporate Lego and baking. What would they bake? How would you incorporate Lego and baking in one challenge?
You know what I think would be interesting? I don't have a specific actual bake, but what I think would be cool in the Lego world is baking is one of those things that is both something where it's like visual, like Lego, but then there's a bunch of interesting stuff going on inside structurally with like the gluten and like the flour and the ingredients, which is not dissimilar to Lego, where it could look cool one way, but it has to stand up. It can't fall down. These things have to be held up together in a creative way. So maybe something that like appears like simple or interesting, like a croissant or a cake, but that also in the build in some form would have to tear away, and you'd have to see the inside, whether it's like the layers of the cake or the lamination of the dough in like a croissant or something like that. I think that is like a cool way that ties together what makes baking interesting with what I think makes Lego interesting.
Oh, that's a great
Did
question,
I just nail that question?
You did. You did.
It?
That sounded like we practiced that question. We did not. We did not have time to practice that one. Jeff McElwee with a $5 support. Thank you so much, Jeff. And he's spending his $5 just highlighting the fun question from Perry. He says, Matt, if you had to be handcuffed to a Lego master for 3 days, who would it be and why? And I think Perry's original question said from season one. Season one, you got to be handcuffed to a Lego master for 3 days. Who would it be and why?
I mean, it would, if I wasn't on the show, I would have said Boone.
Oh,
he is just so cuddly and nice, and truly like made the whole like casting process. Like we hope to make it as easy and streamlined for you guys. Boone also did the same thing for us. Both him and Mark were delightful, and like I think the beard would keep me warm. I feel like maybe Manny, depending on if I needed a haircut or not. Okay. Like he could pull out his clippers and just, take my sides down a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Love it. Thank you, Jeff, for the $5 support. Really appreciate that. Matt, this has been a real pleasure. I just want to thank you so very much. We'll hit those details one more time here. So if you are watching, and we've got a good number of our normal Thursday night people watching tonight, but over 1,000 people will watch this in the next few days. So if you're watching and you want to apply for Lego Masters, or if you know anyone who would like to apply for Lego Masters, and Matt, one of the most important things that you said, I think, was that there's this thing that I discovered through Lego Masters, in that we, as like AFOLs who go to Lego conventions, we know what we think is like the AFOL, right? Like the typical AFOL. And then there's people, there's families who just go, like they take their kids to the store, they buy sets off the shelf, and they build them at home together. And that's a huge percentage of Lego, the actual Lego like kind of target market, right? That's mostly people that kind of fall into that category. But something I discovered is that there's this big group of people in between that are, like you said, they like haven't necessarily gone to conventions, they haven't necessarily connected to like a Lego user group, but they are serious about Lego in a way, and so there are people out there that we don't know you yet because we haven't had the opportunity to connect with you, and really anyone from anywhere on that spectrum I consider a Lego fan, and so if you're watching this, please consider applying.
Really, truly, like I can't stress that enough. Like we will find the people who are like super plugged in, super well known in the Lego community, and they already know about the show, and they're going to apply anywhere. They're going to know someone who's going to apply. There are people out there, and I know there are because I met so many of them last year, who aren't as plugged in who don't show up at these things, who maybe can't for whatever reason, who might be like limited when it comes to the amount of bricks that they, have or own in their possession, but who still can do cool stuff with what they have, or know they have that creative spark or that building talent from other things that they do. I know they're out there. And if you know that person, or you are that person, please, please, please apply. You're not going to get like lost in the shuffle. If we see something in your application that is interesting or sparks us, and it could be anything, we'll get in touch with you. So it does not hurt to apply and send your application. We will see it.
So here it is, www.legomasters.tv. This is what you're going to see when you get there. That big red apply button is probably what you're going to want to hit to get the process started. There's also some other links here if you need to know more before applying. Also, I just want to mention one more time the email address, legomasters@esnaprods.com. And that's Endemol Shine North America Productions, right? Just so
that is exactly what it is. Yeah. ESNAPRODS.com. And Matt, just give us one more, before we close off here, just give us one more tidbit about like why people might want to write that email address down. You want to at least get your foot in the door to get on this show. Like, it is such a fun opportunity and process. If you are creative, if you are even like thinking about like, am I good enough? Am I maybe like, am I not? Like, I got some attention for this mock I did, but I'm not sure if I'm, as good as, Boone and Mark, Tyler and Amy, whoever it is. Show us your pictures. Like, let us see. There is so much room in the Lego world for different styles of building, different types of building, creativity, storytelling. Like Boone knows, like you can smash these like genres and types of builds together and become a Lego master. So if it's something you're even thinking about, or thinking that like maybe I have what it takes, but I'm not sure, send in an application. Let us get a look at it, and we'd be happy to talk to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Matt. I really appreciate your time being here with us. Thank you to my moderators, Jeff, Moto, Dave, Brett is here. We had Ben was in here. Mark Crookshank, thank you for hanging out with us. Oh, and one more super chat from Spot the Magic Ninja. Thank you so much, Spot. Appreciate it. You didn't even work a question into your $5 there, but we really appreciate the support for the live stream here. Y'all, you're awesome. Go apply, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your cousins. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Boone, and can I just say before we sign off, it's such a pleasure seeing you both right now and then on the show. You truly are like such a delight. So great. You and Mark, like amazing builders. Like I'm like truly, I was like so happy to see you guys on TV, and I'm so excited and in a weird way, like proud of you to see everything that you're doing now and how you're plugged into the community. It's really, really cool to see. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. And maybe you are the next Boone out there who's ever watching this. Maybe you are. Maybe you are the next Boone. Although you can't have that name, but you can have the spirit. Matthew T, another $5 super chat. Thank you so much. And thanks so much to Matt for being here with us tonight. And $5 from Perry. Perry, you're here working. You should not be paying for this. The mark to your Boone. So yeah, we'll take that. The quote of the night from Matt. Go out there and find that mark to your Boone and apply. Thank you all so much for being here. Matt, I'll stick around for just a second after the stream ends so that I can just thank you again. You're all amazing. Please subscribe to Boone Builds here on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and Boone Builds everywhere. And until next time, go build something amazing. This has been AFOL Spotlight Live. Thanks again, Matt.
Let's go! Climb aboard this proverbial Winnebago. We're talking about the awesome fans of Lego. So build your mock and shift it into drive.